This is Who's Who Speaks with Mike Ryan. The Who's Who speak include Hollywood legend Michael J. Pollard, along with Venice artist and sculptor Charles Arnoldi. But up next, we find out why a 16-year-old would sail around the world solo. Zac Sunderland shares some of his experiences.
Zac Sunderland is the youngest person to sail solo around the world and the first person ever to accomplish this feat before his 18th birthday. Zac completed his trip after 13 months and 2 days at sea on July 16, 2009, when he sailed back into his port of origin, Marina del Rey in California. Zac is also the youngest American sailor since 1965 to complete a solo global circumnavigation. And Zac, great to see you.
Great to be here.
Okay, what made you want to sail around the world?
Well, I've been a sailor my whole life, and I love adventure, so it was kind of a way for me to adventure. I was 16 when I headed off, and I'd been looking into the record a bit more and figured out if I had left, if I could leave within the next 6 months, I could beat it, so yeah. 16
though, I mean, normally a 16-year-old boy would say, or a young man would say, I'm just heading down to get a pizza, but yours was different. You're going to sail around the world.
Yeah, I mean, I had the idea, and I was looking for a boat, ended up picking up Intrepid with my savings, and got a few sponsors, and then 4 months later I headed off after I bought Intrepid, so it was a really rushed, like tons of work at the time, and just to get in there and get out when I was still 16.
And a lot of support from your family too, because you have to basically rip the guts out of the whole boat, and it was different, wasn't it? It was a one-man operation.
Yeah, well, I had so many people helping out before I left. My dad, lots of volunteers and stuff. We had the boat out in Ventura, stripped her all the way down to a hull, so it's just the skin
shell
of the boat.
Yeah,
and built her all the way back up from there in about a 2-3 month period. And it was just a crazy time. But she made it all the way around, so it was awesome.
She really did. How did you feel though when you left Marina del Rey? Because the day before, as you said before, you were with all your friends and having a conversation with them, and you said, "Oh, I'll see you in about 13 months' time."
Yeah, it was weird.
That's bizarre.
It didn't really sink in until I was setting off. I'd left here and I was looking out at the Pacific Ocean towards Hawaii, and there's nothing for about 2,300 miles out there, and that's a long time. It's a minimum of 2-3 weeks at sea.
What about communications though? How did that happen? Did you have cell phones and internet and stuff?
Yeah, I wish I had cell phones and internet. I had this satellite phone, which is about the size of a brick. I'm sure it gave my brain cancer along the way, but yeah, it was awesome.
Build up your muscles, call all your friends.
Yeah. I mean, one of my sponsors gave it to me, ClearPoint Weather, and they were awesome, sponsoring all the time. So I was actually able to call quite a bit and call my weather people and my parents every day, and without doing a Jesse Martin and running up like a $60,000 phone bill,
Yeah, that's right.
And
Hi, Mom. Could you pay this phone bill? It's only 60 grand. But
I think that's what Jesse's actually was when he got back.
Really?
Yeah, it was extremely expensive at the time.
But that phone, though, would have been very important for yourself because that's your communication to the rest of the world. Did it stop you from going crazy, going batty?
Yeah, it was definitely a big help to have like other human kind of contact out there, and just great to keep in touch with everybody back home as opposed to the snail mail email that's like over the single sideband takes like 20 minutes to send off one little tiny email. So it's bad.
You had plenty of time though. You weren't as if you weren't like, oh, I have to catch the next wave, but I send this email off now. At least it went.
It did, yeah, and very slowly, but it was good. And those are two like lifelines out there as far as contact with everybody.
Was boredom a major issue?
I try to keep myself busy out there. There's always something to do, always some trimming the sails, doing some school, setting up on the next port, finding a better tack to go on. It's just, you find ways of keeping yourself busy the whole time, otherwise your brain turns to mush. But once you're out at sea for about, it takes me about 3 days till I get in kind of it's almost like a sailor's high. The time flies past. You're just kind of in the rhythm of everything, getting everything going. So you're so used to it out there, it just flies.
You had some great adventures on this cruise. On this cruise sounds like some big ship.
Yeah,
on this yacht, you had some great adventures. Did you ever have any time throughout the whole trip that you thought you weren't going to make it? Did you say, this is just getting a bit too hard?
Not really, because once you're about 3 days out, you're in the trade winds, the current's behind you, and the wind's behind you, and there's no turning back really. So if you think, I just want to turn around now, it just makes yourself really tired because you're, fighting yourself inside your mind instead of actually dealing with the problem. So when stuff went wrong out there, I just tried to deal with it the best I could. Had a lot of great advice from my dad and friends of his in the marine business here that were like the best riggers in the world and all that when stuff broke on the boat. So yeah, I had just getting through it. But they say sailing is 80% hard times and 20% fun. And somehow that 20% outweighs the 80%, and they're very true. You know, it makes all the hard times worth it when you pull in some exotic island, with great surf break, and you're like the only boat there. It's just
It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it makes it all worth it.
So you took your surfboard along, and it was just a surfing holiday almost.
I did. Yeah, I didn't get to surf as much as I would have liked to, just because stopping these weird places. But as soon as the weather window opened up, I'd have to take off, regardless of the good surf. But I did get out a few times on the trip.
After 13 months and 2 days at sea, 28,000 miles later, 17-year-old Zac Sunderland sailed home July 16, 2009 to a hero's welcome.